As negotiations to end the war with Iran stall, President Donald Trump says he is unsure if the Strait of Hormuz will be back open by September.
So you think the blockade will still be in place by Labor Day?
I don't know. I mean, I think it could be, but I think it's unlikely. I think that we'll have it. I think this will resolve itself fairly quickly.
This all comes as officials in Kuwait say an Iranian drone attack on its international airport killed one person and injured dozens more. After the attack, all flights were suspended there. NBC News International correspondent Matt Bradley is in Doha, Qatar for us. Matt, thousands of American troops are based in Kuwait. What more are we learning about that attack at the airport?
Well, we're hearing that the airport is back open, that there was at least one death and dozens more, possibly more than 60 injuries. The footage from this attack looks very, very grim. This was a passenger terminal, and this was, of course, a civilian target. So we don't know exactly what Kuwait is going to be doing from here on out. Obviously, all of the Gulf countries, including where I am now in Qatar, have issued strong statements of condemnation. In the past, we have heard, in retrospect, some news about some of these Gulf countries firing back at Iranian targets. It's unclear whether or not that's going to be happening now. But I got to tell you, Kate, in a way, this is becoming a routine kind of conflagration where we're seeing the U.S. attacking Iran, claiming self-defense, Iran attacking back, not only at American targets. In Bahrain, the IRGC said that they targeted America's 5th fleet, but also hitting domestic targets, civilian targets in some of these cases. That is going to anger these Gulf countries, which are very powerful, quite rich, and can apply pressure on the U.S. to end the fighting. So far, that hasn't really worked.
Matt, in that podcast interview this morning, the president also confirmed that he had a contentious call recently with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The prime minister was asked about this in a separate interview later on this morning. What did he say about his relationship with Mr. Trump?
Well, the prime minister was saying basically that this was a contentious call. He agreed with that. He kind of dodged on some of these questions about whether or not there was profanity that was used, whether or not there was threats that were used, whether or not President Trump said that he was the reason why Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was not in jail. Here's more on that.
Well, I'm not going to get into details of our conversations. We've had thousands, well, a lot of them. And if you think this is a crisis, you should be in some other conversations. But we've always found a way. We have so many agreements. We agree on the main things.
So while it looks as though that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to stylize this disagreement as a kind of family feud, the kind of things that best friends run into, it's clear that this is, at least publicly, the biggest break that we've seen between this wartime prime minister and the wartime president so far.
Matt Bradley for us. Matt, thanks so much.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.